With Pat McCann, Carrie throws up the deuces to the mayor, and do Angela and Jessica finally reconcile? Hey, this is the Pearson After Show. Let's talk about it. Let's go!
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz.
How are you doing today?
I am doing amazing.
All you AfterBuzzers out there, thank you for joining us. This is another great evening. Hoping you guys are enjoying your evening. We are talking Pearson, Season 1, Episode 3, The Union Leader. You see how I said that with my voice? Like, we keep it slow. I'm your host, Tenere Williams, and I have my co-host.
Yes, Jackie Nova. What a episode. This was really heavy.
Amazing. And we are going to get into all of that. Yeah. We have a great show lined up for you guys, including special segments. You're in contempt, where you guys tell us who's in contempt for this show? Who is just making you mad with what they did or said? I know we're going to have our own opinions, so definitely we'd love to hear you guys chime in on that. We're also going to have some news and gossip, as well as show predictions. So we have a great one. A lot to get to tonight. A lot to get to. So let's just jump right in. But let's start with overall thoughts. I'll start with my own overall thoughts. Look at me. I'm giving myself the old...
Boom, do it.
Go ahead. Okay, I got the okay from Jackie. So my overall thoughts, man, a great episode. Really moving things forward. I thought a couple questions were, I guess a couple questions for me were answered, and really, I really love the storyline of the union leader, in terms of how that all went down today, as well as Carrie. I kind of like the little direction side story that Carrie had going on, and going to be interesting to see how that storyline moves ahead. What did you think?
Yeah, well, my overall thoughts was, as I was taking notes, and we had to actually stop and rewind a little bit just to kind of, it was heavy. It's a lot of city council talk and union talk, and it was I was definitely like, it was heavy.
Yeah, for those listening, there was definitely a couple times in here where we were like, wait a minute, can we rewind that? What did she say? How did so it was but it was good, yes. And once you kind of understand what was going on, what Jessica was trying to achieve, again, that Chicago just politics just going down. Really enjoyed it. So, I thought the episode was interesting because we start off with, you see the scene with Jessica and Nick driving Jessica around. Yeah. She's trying to make a little bit of small talk, and he's just kind of not really having it. He's just, Nick is just very straightforward to the point, like doesn't, part of it could be he doesn't really want to drive her around, or really, I don't think he fully trusts her, but...
It was like, he was like, look, here, because she's just like, what are you doing here? And what is this?
Right.
And he's just like, look, you wanted the best. Here I am. I'm going to drive you around point blank.
Right.
Like, I'm the man to do it.
Right.
Just let's do this. I'm going to drive. But he didn't, definitely. He did not want to have any conversation, like a little small. He was like, what are you doing?
Right.
What are you doing?
Right.
I don't want to have a small talk with you.
Right.
Like, just let's keep it 100% business. I just think he has a what? So he's
you know
just
what?
Like,
I'm glad you said.
He's trying to block that off.
I definitely feel like somewhere, like when you're a little kid, and sometimes like if you're a boy and you like a girl, but you like go and hit her and say you're like rough on her, and it's like a weird way of showing like, hey, I kind of like you.
Yeah.
I think that definitely Nick has a not a soft spot, but I think there's something there. Maybe he's just
say it's definitely a soft spot. You're a guy, you know what's
maybe up. He's just refusing right now to acknowledge it, because of his brother, his family, like tough guy, like this and this. So
I think he's also he's never had to deal with a woman that strong and that powerful. So he's just seen, he's a little, he's like.
Nick is very much about the
street.
I was gonna say, definitely the street, the male machismo, definitely coming out in the form of Nick. So, like you said, sometimes I think he's maybe taken aback by the way that, Jessica handles things, the way she talks. And it's like, what? Yeah. Who's this woman talking, type thing. So, so after they have their, it was even interesting because in that scene, as Nick's driving her around, she's like, why are you driving past the mayor's office? I need someone who knows where they're going. And he's like, well, actually, I'm taking you to meet with Pat McCann. Jessica doesn't know anything about it. So she gets a little peeved,
Right, like why do I want to meet with this crooked dude?
Exactly. And the fact that she didn't even know that she was going there, I think is what made her like more upset, because she had mentioned, she said, well, next time the mayor tells you to take me somewhere, you make sure it's okay with me, So I guess Nick was also looking like, whatever, lady,
Like, the mayor's the boss. Right. You're going to do what we say.
So we get to, so he drives Nick to meet with Pat McCann, and this is really the crux of the episode. So there's obviously from last episode, you guys remember the alderman seat was, she retired. Found her in, Jessica got her a cush job in some other county, so the seat is open. Pat McCann steps in. We already know he's crooked, and he wants to get his own folks in there, obviously, because if he can control what's going on in these cities or has people who are working with him, he can get things done. So she has Jessica and Pat McCann have their little powwow. And
she was not having that powwow because she was just like, wait, what? Betsy? That's who you want to fill the seat.
Right.
No way.
Right.
And we already, because it moves on forward, but we'll get to that. I mean, she's not a good egg.
And she was just the fact that he was pushing just to get, like, basically, obviously I don't think neither of them had ever met, so I don't know they knew how each other operated. So I think McCann is just used to telling folks, well, this is what I want, this, or basically this is what you gonna do. And Jessica's like, I'm not that girl, I'm not that woman. So
there's a new sheriff in town. That's
so
Pearson.
And he and it's funny because I think in a way McCann kind of respects it, like, okay, you're gonna stand up to me a little bit and talk the talk, but I still think underneath he's like, but you still gonna do what I want, And, Jessica's right there with him toe to toe. He tells her, look, I want, like you said, I want Betsy Sullivan to have that seat. And Jessica I think she already knew like a little bit about her or who she was, like her background. Yeah. And she's kind of like, okay, that's, I guess at the time she just kind of took it all in. Yeah, and obviously, it's like, I'll go talk with the mayor about it.
I do like how they transitioned from that scene, which was so heavy, into the Angela scene at her apartment with the kids. And I mean, it was a very short scene, but it was powerful because it really touched Angela, because her kids were like, aren't we supposed to move? Like,
right.
And she's so upset about that, because you don't want to disappoint your children,
right,
and letting them know that, and them knowing that, like, they're going to have to move because they can't afford living there.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing. So,
and even backing up a little bit before that was when they had to find the mayor, first of all, because like the first couple episodes, everybody, Carrie's looking like, where's the mayor at? What's going on? Like, Derek was like, oh, it's just one of those days. I guess he's not in. Yeah. Jessica's kind of like, where is he? And so, finally they find him at the playground.
Yes.
With his kids playing.
Yep, that was right up, yep.
And then she goes and tells him, like, hey, just had this meeting with McCann. He wants Betsy Sullivan. And this is, again, you see the politics come in, and he's like, hey, I think, what was his quote? I can't die on the hill for everyone. So, And Jessica's kind of like, well, yeah, that's where my family lives, though. And this lady basically is not going to have their best interests at heart, going, if she gets appointed. And the mayor's almost kind of like, hey, you can't win them all.
Yeah, and he said this one thing where, like, yesterday was yesterday. And I wrote here, like, on my notes, like, what is he going back on his word? Because Pearson was mentioning, like, but that's not what you mentioned. And then that's why he was like, well, yesterday was yesterday.
Right.
Like, I think, because he's got so much more problems going on in his home life, where now he's a little bit distracted what's happening at the city hall.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And like you said, that's why I think Jessica knew, like, okay, well, I'm going to have to take this one.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the mayor wanted him to, or wanted her to.
Oh, yeah.
Just go in there, get this handled, get this, because basically that's what she is. She's like the fixer.
Oh, Yeah, she is.
Yeah, exactly.
She is. I mean, she's not mafia, but I mean, if you want to, if this wasn't a mafia movie, she's the mafiosa one.
Exactly. So we see her after she leaves the mayor. She goes and meets with Betsy Sullivan, has a little lunch with her, asks her some questions, and we come to find out Betsy Sullivan grew up in Hyde Park. Which
actually, right before that, Pearson and Yoli, the newest executive assistant, she's so excited about doing her. She actually says, "I want dirt. I want the scoop on Betsy." Yoli was like, "Assignment. I'm so excited." I mean, that's how I would be. Assignment. Here we go.
Exactly. And like you said, that's her first task to kind of really get in the good graces of Jessica. So she's like, "I want to know everything about this woman."
Right. And that's when it goes right into like, boom, she's at this restaurant with Betsy, and she's Betsy's like flaunting that she's employed 100 former prisoners. Like, okay, lady.
Which was actually interesting, because if she had told Yoli that she wants to know like a lot of this stuff, if you remember, they when she said, "Oh, I've employed like over 100 like convicts or whatever," and Jessica was like, "I did not know that," So I was wondering, it was like, oh, like Yoli, like maybe you didn't
fully do your job.
Yeah, give her the briefing the way that she was expecting. So it was like, oh, okay.
Right. But I did like how Pearson confronted her and said, like, ex-cons aren't allowed in the union. And, Pearson, definitely feels that she's racist and is not in favor of the community and not in favor of the mayor. So I'm glad that scene existed, because it really explained what was going on, because especially we're still in episode 3, it's a new show, so it's like, more unveiling, more characters.
And like you said, I think when Jessica picked up when she said that part about the convicts, like, "Oh, I thought you couldn't employ that." I mean, I think that was like her being quick on her feet, saying, "Oh, well, I do know this and this. Yeah, even though I didn't know you employed them, but isn't that still illegal? That the fact that you did do it, So I was like, man,
Pearson's quick,
right? She's good. She's definitely very good. That's why she's one of the best. So after coming back with, from that meeting, then she, like I said, tells Yoli. I think Yoli she's like, "I want to know more about." I want to know more about Betsy. What's going on?
Well, Pearson actually, she talks over the phone, and then she. With Pat, and that's when she tells Pat, again, that was a very short scene too, but I like that they interjected that scene in there, because she mentions she's going to help pick candidates who are going to run, not you, Pat.
Right.
I mean, she is just boss.
Right. No, and you're right, because I know she said, like, yeah, and even her tone was very sarcastic, like, yeah, that's not going to work. Like, she's not going to, And, they're kind of playing this kind of game back and forth, but you can kind of tell each of them's going, with their points going back and forth, that, hey, I'm not going to stand for this, even though I'm talking in a joking tone. You kind of know what I'm going for. And like you said, Jessica's like still like, no, I'm going to get people in there who are actually going to care about the community and not there to serve your purposes.
Yeah, because I mean, she didn't move from New York and left everything behind to be in Chicago. She only went to Chicago to be with her family. She doesn't have much family. That's the only family she has.
Right.
So it's like, she's going to make sure she has to do what she has to do to protect her family, to make sure the community's correct.
Yep.
So, she's telling him what's up. And how about the next scene with Carrie the blonde and the photographer flirting?
Yes, I was doing that. I saw that. I was like, okay, Carrie, getting your little flirt on. Well, really, like you said, it was the photographer coming throwing the game, and she was so kind of thrown off, like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, because she's so used to Jess being with the mayor that it's like she forgot that she's not on lockdown. The mayor's not her boyfriend, not her husband. So she was flustered, like, she felt a little something. Right. I was like, ooh, yes, please.
I think it was much more of that, like you said, like a guy coming up, kind of approaching her versus her kind of being in the shadows all the time, type thing. So I think, like you said, when she got that, even though she was like, oh no, like I'm good, but I feel like inside she was like, no, I definitely,
I'm interested.
And we see it a little later on in the episode where, it kind of comes back to her. So that's, I was good. I was happy for Carrie. And speaking of Actually, before we move into the Keri, I think we have a little something that we want to tell our AfterBuzzers out there.
Absolutely. Well, here at AfterBuzz, the way we do things is we can't do it without you. We love what we do, and we appreciate that you guys are also our host. And because of you guys is the reason why we're here. And please, the way we keep this AfterBuzz train moving along and chugging along is you subscribe, you thumbs up, you toes up, you do all kinds of comments. We comment back, and please keep sharing, keep talking up, keep buzzing about us all day, all night. And thank you so much for making us the ESPN of TV Talk. Woo-woo! We love you guys. Thank you so much. Mwah.
Thank you guys.
Every single one of you.
And for those listening by iTunes, don't forget, give us 5 stars on the internet machine.
That's right, iTunes too, iTunes. Baby. Let's not forget about the iTunes.
Definitely. So moving on with Keri's storyline, like you said, so she gets she gets hit on by the photographer.
Yes.
Derek asks her, can you help me out? Do this like PR stuff.
Yeah.
So one of them was doing the modeling shoot. The other one was talking to the high school girls. And, at first she was very reluctant, didn't want to, ends up going out and doing it. And I think we see like you said, kind of a little breakout for Keri in this episode. Because I think especially out of that, the shell of... like you said, we've only seen her in like work situation, lockdown stuff, battling with Jessica, dealing with the mayor. And this was almost, even for her, almost like I think a freeing experience.
It is a freeing experience.
And when she's talking with the high school girls.
Oh, yeah. But let's not forget, just so that Pearson and Yoli, just real quick, they have like a little meeting, and Yoli will get Pearson some... and ready for her services. Like, I mean, she just wants to get like all these names of the people that can be city council people. You see how pumped she got with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she kind of like overstepped the bounds on, or I guess Jessica got a little upset with her on that, when she suggested the names, and she was like, who?
Like, aren't you into Latin people?
Right.
Like, and she's just like, wait, you are Latin, right? Like, she almost was second guessing. Did she just learn Spanish in like college, or is she really a Latina?
Right. Yeah. It's going to be interesting how that relationship blossoms, because right now you can tell Yoli's kind of the go-getter. Yeah. But she's a little rough around the edges right now.
Yeah, she doesn't really know exactly what she's doing. She just talks a good talk, but she needs to now show what she's capable of doing. And the things that she says, she needs to back it up.
Right.
But then, Pearson got that phone call from Lillian shortly after that. I just knew something was bugging Pearson, something with her family.
Yeah, and so they get the eviction notice, and obviously that hits home with Jessica. And, she has a meeting with Pat McCann about it, and he's like, hey, you know what you got to do, because she kind of figures out his little scheme, like, hey, this is why you want to get in control of the unions, because it's basically, obviously, coming down to the bottom line, profits, she said it was going to save him, I think, like 40 to 50 million in like labor costs.
I was like, what?
So, which leads us to the point of Jessica going to meet with the union leader, Frank Kramer. Mm-hmm. And Frank Kramer, real stand-up guy, not really...
Yeah, he's
by bribes.
No, he doesn't care about
money, any of that stuff. And I think when Jessica was talking to him in that meeting, and she suggested, hey, can you slip in some non-union labor on some of your contracts or whatever, which is obviously something in the union world like you just do not do. You just don't cross that line.
Right, and because we don't know anything about union stuff, I mean, at least not like that. That's like so specific, like, city council stuff. That's like heavy duty stuff. I was like, it's not like union SAG-AFTRA.
Well, I mean, like you said, it's interesting where I think it very much is like kind of, unions get certain contracts and jobs, and it's kind of like, once you get in a contract, you don't hire non-union labor, which is probably usually cheaper than what the union labor is. Right. And so he was like, but I think the thing that struck her the most was when he was talking about how it was, this is my family. We go to when someone's in the hospital, we go to the hospital. When someone has a baby, we're all with the baby. Like, I cannot cross these guys. And he's like, not one of them. And I think actually when she saw that, she was just like, okay, this is not going to be an easy negotiation because this guy is not moved.
Well, that's when she pretty much breaks down and she calls up her ex, Jeff.
Yeah, she has a little vulnerable moment there.
Yeah, because things aren't going correct for her.
Right.
They're just not. It's not as she actually confesses. This is not as easy as I thought. This is not. I don't like it. I can't stand it. I mean, she was just slamming being in Chicago. Like, I don't even think, why is this worth it? Because I don't even think my family likes me.
And it was really, like you said, one of those private moments. That's the private Jessica that no one gets to really see.
No.
When she's breaking down like that, because she's always got the strong front posted up. Like, you're not going to get in, you're not going to break me down. But behind closed doors, it's like, hey, I'm still, she proves I'm still a human. And I got these emotions and feelings, and she's missing him. And I think that the message actually ran out, and she kept on talking, afterwards for a little bit.
Yeah.
And just said, like, I miss you, all this stuff.
Oh, man.
I wonder how long. I don't know how long Jeff's gonna be away, but he needs to come back and get his woman. Be like, let's get stuff together.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, she has that situation, and what was interesting was when she's going through how she's gonna deal with this, and she has that little conversation with Nick. When he comes in that night, and she's just like, you can kind of tell, like, I'm mulling over how am I gonna get this done. And he said, when it comes to family, he's like, there are no, what did he say? I forgot you do what you got to do.
Yeah, you just do what you have to do.
And she said, no matter what lines get crossed, he was like, doesn't matter to me, what it is.
And that's what I wrote. Yeah, it's the way it is.
Yeah.
But you're just going to have to do what you have to do for your family first.
So in the, she kind of figures out, okay, she gets her plan together, and she has a second meeting with her boy, Frank Kramer.
Oh, yeah, but before she has that little second meeting, ding dong, who starts ringing the doorbell to the mayor's house?
Right.
Carrie.
Right. Carrie, that's such that moment where I guess she was like, well, really, we know it was when she was talking with the high school girls.
Yes.
And the girl said that, oh, you're my hero. You're my role model.
Yes. Did you see her face?
And I think that's what really hit Carrie was just the irony of you're my role model, you're classy, successful, all this stuff. And meanwhile, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm cheating with a married man, like all this stuff. So I think it really just hit her that I got to deal with this situation, and the best thing for me is just not to be in this, in this situation.
Well, she even tells him, because he's like, what are you doing here? And she's just like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. It's just that it's like she wants to keep revealing to him, like what's going on here with us? What are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be this person. This is not the person who I am. Like, I need to know what's going on.
Right.
And I totally understand her position. I mean, she's younger than he is. She fell into this, like, he probably lied up the wazoo saying that nothing's going on with him and his wife and it's going to be a divorce, blah, blah, blah. And here's, he reveals it's MS. And like, hey, her whole face was like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And I think that also was kind of a kick in the face to her to be like, yeah, so this can't, like, we can't be doing, like, I got to deal with some stuff. And then it kind of really hits her like, oh, yeah, you're married, you have a family. Like, I'm not number one.
Yeah.
You are definitely like the side chick right now. And right now my wife's going through stuff, so I got to go. So I think that hit her, and I think she knew. It was like, you know what, I just can't do this. And especially when, like I said, old boy with the photographer's like, hey, there's people out there.
Yeah, Luke, the photographer, he was just like, hey, here I am.
So yeah, that was a kind of, like you said, I think a very freeing episode for Carrie, just being like, hey, let's, at least for now, I don't know what might happen, a little later down the road, but for now, she's like, hey, I'm going to do me. Get out here, enjoy my life.
That's right. That's right.
So,
but before all that, that's right. You were going to mention about Pearson and the lunch with Carlo. Because Yoli mentions in the office, I made a lunch arrangement with Carlo, and with Carlo, and then. Right. That's when Pearson snapped, because, like, why are you setting up meetings for me? You're not supposed to set up meetings for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's not happening. But that's because she already knew about, like, all the shady stuff that was going on, so. Yeah.
So then she eventually gets over to, like I said, which leads to her eventual meeting with Kramer, the second one, I should say. Mm-hmm. And, you know, she kind of goes in, and this is after her talk with Nick saying, like, hey, you do what you got to do for your family. So she obviously comes in, and in her first visit, you know, his son, turns out to be the union leader's son, like assaults her outside as she's leaving, wants to get up in her business, gets a little rough. Right. Nick gets a little rough with him. Mm-hmm. And so Pearson uses that. Jessica uses that
as leverage.
As leverage in the second meeting to get done, you know, but she kind of hates that she has to do that.
Oh, she can't stand that she has to do that. Her stomach is cringing just the thought of doing it, but that's why she had Yoli scoop up what she had to scoop up, and that's why Yoli couldn't really accomplish that mission without Derek. And it's like, now they're working together, and Derek's like, yeah, so you need me.
Right.
Let's just say, you need, yes, whatever you want, Yoli was saying, just I need this information, which was perfect golden information for Ms. Pearson, so that she can have leverage. Like, hey, look, I know that your son can go back to jail. He assaulted me. What do you want to do here?
Right.
He has no other choice because he's in debt, and he made that real clear. So maybe the man that he used to be was the type of man that didn't need the money, but he needed the money. And he spilled those beans. Right?
And I think Jessica, like you said, I'm sorry, the mayor, when she had the conversation with him, when he was like, well, he's not swayed by, you know, like, you're going to have to find another way to get in there with him. So, I mean, the fact that she had to kind of dig and kind of stoop to that level to get the job done. But you saw after she had after she gets the deal done, she calls McCann, says, hey, we got it done. They're going to agree to it. Now you stick to your deal, give my family the 90 days. And as soon as she finishes that call, she cries because she's probably just like, I can't believe I
tell you what, she's like, I cannot believe that I just stooped so low, because this is not who she is.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have to. I mean, this woman is intelligent. She's witty and charming and educated. She doesn't, that's like mafia stuff. Right. And then she's like, good Lord, I am so in the presence of, like, you know, really educated people, but then we got like really messed up mafia people that are just trying to take over.
And she can, like you said, it's interesting because she can play those games. Like, obviously she went there and did it, but like you said, just because she can doesn't mean she wants to. It's kind of like last resort. Like, man, and I think actually if her family wasn't on the line like that, would she have even gone down that road? But it was just kind of like, hey, you got my back up against the wall, you're dealing with my family, they're going to get kicked out.
Yeah, well, she even has that conversation with her cousin Angela. Because, you know, she eventually goes into her home and wants to let her know, like, hey, it's all taken care of, you have 90 days.
Which is interesting, which leads me actually to the next point of their relationship, the Angela-Jessica Pearson relationship. Because earlier when we find out that they're getting evicted, Angela comes home, and Jessica's in the house or whatever, and immediately she just goes into like, this woman's back here we go again, you know, type thing. So you're like, man, just like sweating her, giving her a hard time. After Jessica gets the tells him, like, hey, you have 90 days to get it like, done. Hey, she just totally softens up, like, hey, do you want to,
just wait, like, just come in.
They have a little bonding moment.
Oh my God, I was
She's talking about her sons, like, they're so nice. You're just like, whoa,
I couldn't even believe that she was just like, I was not expecting that. I thought that was really brilliant how they did that twist, because it's still new, the episodes. They could have kind of held that out a little longer, but they were like, no, we got some more good twists and turns for you. We need this family to be a little more bonded. Mm-hmm. So it was nice to see Angela.
And to actually kind of find out why she was like that towards Angela, because, you know, when Aunt Lillian said, like, what's your problem? Like, she's just trying to help, all this stuff. Yeah. And she said, hey, you used to call me when you had these kind of, now you're calling Jessica. And so you're like, ooh. So she was a little, like, threatened, like, hey, you moving it? Yeah, you know. So you're like, okay, that's kind of, and I kind of figured that's what was going on this whole time. But I mean, she actually came out and said it this time. So you're kind of like, okay. And I think once they kind of they got through that moment, and Jessica kind of really helped them out with this 90, because you start talking about people getting evicted
moving
all
in 7 days, like you can't
with
do it.
kids.
I mean, come on. She's like, you can't even move it. You can't even move a toothbrush in 7 days. Like, come on.
So they got.
I'm just so wondering, like, but we'll keep it for predictions.
Yeah. So that's like I said. Finally, they kind of end the episode with, we see Jessica and Angela kind of reconcile a little bit. Then the last part is really, we see Carrie in the bar, like that last scene.
But hold it up a second. Let's not miss how Bobby, the mayor, is with Stephanie in the kitchen having their discussion. I mean, that was definitely a twist, because this man all of a sudden has a halo over his head. I was like, who is this man? This is not the same man that I've been watching for 2 episodes. What's up with this guy? I mean, I'm very happy that he is now, he's like, you're my wife, and that's why I'm going with you. I was like, okay.
Right. He kind of draws you in there. You're like, yeah, that's right. But then you're just like, wait a minute. Last 2 episodes, you were trying to get it in with, Carrie over here.
It was Carrie.
So, yeah.
I think that's very, he's feeling guilty. I'll tell you that much. And good for him. I'm glad you're feeling guilty. Be with your wife.
I think he definitely, for some reason, I feel like he's just able to compartmentalize everything. So I think he does have a genuine part of him has a genuine love for his wife.
Oh, yeah,
and then there's the part that's just like, I just want to get out and get it in. And Carrie's right here. So, I'm I'm the mayor of Chicago.
He loves his wife. I can tell just by that episode, but by that scene, he loves his wife. It's just unfortunate that she has MS. It's a lot for him to carry. Maybe at the moment that was not as it didn't attract him as much. And so here's, Carrie is younger and beautiful. They're both beautiful. It's just Carrie could provide some other things for him that his wife at the moment was not able to. So I am glad. Kudos for you, Mayor, for sticking by your wife's
side. There you go. There you have it. And then, like I said, to kind of wrap up the episode, we have the Carrie scene in the bar, meeting up with the photographer again.
Luke,
so that might be something blossoming, and then that'll be interesting. Depending if the mayor goes away, maybe if she starts dating Luke, and then maybe he starts coming around the office, and it's just like, oh, who's this guy? Like, a little jealousy on that end.
This?
So, and then the biggest thing was really that last 10 seconds or so that they showed the photographs on the wall, and you just saw some hands messing around, and it said FBI office, and it looks like they had photos of Jessica, the mayor, Pat McCann, all of them. So you're like, oh man, they are already onto it. They look like they're planning some big sting or something, and like you said, Jessica's involved. So really it goes back to what we said in the first episode, what does Pat McCann have on the mayor, or what did they work on together, where it's obviously something FBI
that is slowly going to be unveiling itself.
And I think that's a major clue right there. Ooh, the feds start getting involved. This is no joke. So it was a good episode, you guys. I know you guys probably enjoyed it out there. I know we certainly did. And like I said, the writers, they always leave us on that kind of cliff. It's just like, oh, how are you going to leave me like this? So, which is great. So,
and if you guys have any predictions, please send us what you're thinking, because we'll integrate that into our conversations. Absolutely,
for sure. So what I want to move into is the special segment. Actually, no. Before we get to the, before we get to the special segment, I want to do the top 3 segments. Again, top 3 quotable moments of the episode. So for those of you out there, the title kind of lends what we're going to be talking about. It's just really the top. The best quotes of the night, basically. For me, I wrote down. This was in the beginning. Oh no, not the beginning. When they were at the union leaders meeting.
Oh, the meeting.
They came out. Jessica got assaulted. Nick took him out. She said, aren't you going to address what just happened? Who is that guy? All this stuff. And Nick said, don't ask me to be that guy. and then get outraged when I am. Those are my rules. I was like, woo, Nick, okay, coming with the, and then he just kind of left her like there standing, you know, and went over to the driver's side and was like, all right, we out, like that. I was like, wow, Nick. But that was pretty cool when he was like, don't ask me to be that guy and then get outraged when I am, because I know even in real life, I've come across that with like friends or, you know, things like that where, you know, you talk about someone, be like, oh man, this dude's all like rough, or, you know, and then you know that, and then they act rough, and it's kind of like, well, you knew what you were getting into, like, you know what kind of person I am, so don't be surprised when it comes out, you know, type thing. So so that was my quotable moment of one of my favorite quotes of the night. What about one of yours?
Ooh, I didn't write any down, but I'm trying to think right now. I really loved when, I don't really know much if there's like a quote for it, but I just, at the ending when Carrie was at the bar with Luke, and Luke just really reveals his name and a little more about himself, and she's just like, she's in awe of him. Yeah. But there was still that thought like, oh, I'm thinking about the mayor. It's not even a quote or anything. No words out of Carrie's mouth. It's all on her, the way her action was.
Her face was the quote.
Her face was the quote.
The actions were the quotes. No, that's all good. So, yeah, you guys send us in, like, what your favorite quotes of the night were. We're definitely interested, because the writers, they definitely provide some. Every episode, I mean, they got some ones that just, like, either people digging at each other, or you're just like, ooh, that was deep, type situations. So, now I want to move into our special segment, which is You're in Contempt. You will not be having any of it. I'm going to get me a real gavel, too, one day. I'm just, so I can, you know, we won't even need the sound effect in there, because I'm going to bang it right on this table right here. So for you guys who don't know, the You're in Contempt, our special segment, is, again, we talk about either a situation or person during the episode where it just leaves you shaking your head like, like, no, I can't believe you said that. I can't believe you did this. You're in contempt, sir. You're in contempt, ma'am. So for me, my You're in Contempt moment, it really was, I guess it was probably the McCann meeting with Jessica. Yes. And just really when he was like, when he was talking to Jessica and saying like, yeah, so basically I'm going to need, what's her name? I'm going to need Betsy Sullivan.
Betsy, yeah.
As the seat chair. And it was just, you could kind of see, like, I feel like Jessica had like the head tilt, like, do you know what you're talking? Like, no, I'm not going to let you, you know, talk to me like this or get it down. So I was definitely looking like, I know he didn't just say that, you know, to just, even if he had a smile on his face. I was like, she's not going for that.
Oh, well, you see, you notice he always has a smile on his face. Well,
so, McCann, you were in contempt tonight. I have a feeling that's going to be a recurring theme for you, sir. I think every episode he's in, I could probably just put him in contempt right now, going forward. So.
Pat, you're in contempt.
Right.
For sure. I think Betsy's in contempt. How dare she think that she's actually doing good for the community when she is not? So guess what? You're in contempt, Betsy.
Bang my gavel. That's right. Betsy Sullivan. Go back to Hyde Park. All right. So again, like you guys, send in your contempt moments. We'd love to hear who you thought was who you thought, or the situation that you thought should be in contempt for the night.
Yes, indeed.
Now we're going to move on to the news.
Yes.
For the
we've got Gina Torres's Instagram.
Ooh, got the special news segment music, you know.
Oh, yeah. I know we're going to see a picture of her Instagram in a sec. It's going to pop right up there. I am Gina Torres. Ooh, she's got a whole bunch of followers. Go, girl. And she's an actress, mom, and a foodie. May or may not have a problem with donuts. That's amazing. She loves her donuts, but she stays fit.
There we go.
Then we have, she mentions in a picture how we're not pulling any punches this week on Pearson. And she does hashtag tough town, hashtag tough people, hashtag tough choices. Like, I love how she's talking about the episodes, and she mentions also, we've got a good one in store tonight, don't we? Like, she just keeps the keeps us fans anticipating, like, ooh, what's happening, and ooh, what is she thinking? So she also mentions, truly one of my favorite moments. And why? Because I can't tell you how many times it's happened to me during my life. Thank you, hashtag Danielle Arkin, for taking my idea and making it such a memorable moment. That was when Pearson and Jolie met up where they're supposed to check their bags, and Yoli was speaking Spanish. And this was
the last episode, right?
It was, but it's brilliant how, like, Pearson on her Instagram will talk about, like, she'll now talk about, like, tomorrow and the next day and the next day about this episode.
You go,
so
Gina.
it's really amazing. I love it. And and to top it off, she has a hot shot there with her being real badass with the mayor tonight on Pearson.
Right.
And the next picture is, it's coming up. The Hating Game. Pearson and Suits star Gina Torres joins Lucy Hale and Robbie Amell in rom-com. We are looking forward to that. More of Gina and the rest of the cast members when I find out some more scoop.
There we go.
Right here at AfterBuzz.
There we go. We will keep you abreast of all things Pearson. That's what we do here. That's what we do. So now I want to move into predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Oh boy.
Well, like I said, based on that final scene with the FBI, don't know if it's going to be talked about maybe next week, because they tend to the writers tend to, looks like they drop little clues for you, and then it's like, hey, we're going to revisit this, because we still haven't, found out about our boy who got shot, like that they showed the pictures of. They showed the FBI, doing all this stuff. Maybe those are connected. I don't know. But I do feel that, like I said, Carrie going forward, the Carrie mayor relationship, and this is for next episode, I think that could definitely take a shift as she's kind of breaking out of his shadow.
Well, I predict that definitely Carrie is going to come out of her shadow for sure, without a fail. She's done. That face told it all. Like, she's done with it. So that's my prediction for Carrie.
Boom.
Ms. Pearson herself and her family are gonna bond more, and I feel like maybe something might break it off a little bit again, but that's my prediction for that. And I don't really think that the mayor is going to go away. He really wants to. His heart is there, but I just don't think he's going to do it.
Just don't think he's going to do it. Well, we will have to tune in next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. We will be here, so we hope you guys join us. It's been a fantastic week. Where can they find you on social media?
Yes, you can find me at Jackie Nova 7 across the board, and you can find me at oxfilms.us. My movie Art of Deception, a Richard Ryan film, will be coming out this fall to DVD, VODs, all kinds of good stuff. Stay tuned for that. I'll tell you all about it. It's going to be awesome. And I do Bring the Funny on Tuesdays at 9 o'clock at night here at AfterBuzz. And I do Jet at 4 o'clock. And we're going to have an amazing guest. Oh, Gentry White will be there. So check it out.
Woo! She's got a lot going on. Hey, it's your boy Tenere Williams. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TenereW. That's at TeneRew. You guys have a fantastic week. Thanks for stopping by. We're going to have a lot of fun next week with Pearson. So you guys have a fantastic week. All right? Take care.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the